often think of distance and age as barriers, things that stand in the way of achievement. But a 12-year-old Pennsylvania girl sees them quite differently, as challenges. Not long ago, she overcame both to set an international record. As Sarah James reports, it wasn't the first time Vicki Van Meter spread her wings.
At first glance, it's hard to pick out the person in this group of sixth graders who's made aviation history. 12-year-old Vicki Van Meter seems like any other elementary school child. But last year, at the ripe old age of 11, Vicki made it into the record books as the youngest person ever to fly her own plane across the United States.
It doesn't really matter what age you are. If you put your mind to anything, you can accomplish it.
But crossing the country wasn't enough for this 5'3" pilot. Vicki surprised everyone when she announced a new goal.
I thought maybe flying across the Atlantic Ocean would be a pretty big challenge.
That challenge had Vicki's parents, Jim and Corinne Van Meter, understandably concerned.
I said to her, Vicki, you know, there is a chance that your plane could go down.
There's about a dozen planes a year that go down, and you know, they lose a few pilots every year.
Vicki knew the odds and never looked back. Because she's flying a single-engine Cessna over the frigid North Atlantic, she'll have to wear this survival suit.
You can't wear this hat in the house, Vicki.
If her engine failed, she'd only survive in the water for about 3 minutes, with the suit up to 24 hours.
My bangs don't need cut or anything, just that part.
The night before her historic trip, she gets a trim and then practices with her sister what she'll say when she lands in Europe.
Je suis contente d'être ici.
Okay.
As Vicki takes off from Augusta, Maine, the world is watching, but no one more nervously than Mom and Dad.
We really believe that she's in God's hands.
However, they feel reassured when, from another plane, they watch this remarkable sight.
She's waving. Hi, Vicki. This is incredible.
By law, Vicki must be accompanied by an adult.
232 Charlie Lima, this is 172.
Kurt Arnsperger is Vicki's instructor.
Well, some people say, hey, you're going to let a 12-year-old girl fly at the controls of the plane all the way across the Atlantic Ocean? I say, hey, she's very capable, and, you know, I'd trust my life with her.
Dateline gave Vicki and Kurt a camcorder to record their trip. Their journey will take them to Goose Bay, Canada, with stops in Greenland and Iceland, and then finally Scotland. At first, everything is fine, but as they head north, there's a serious problem.
We've had a lot of ice on our wings, and a little ice, I mean, that's okay, but a lot of ice is pretty big problem.
Vicki tries to climb higher to get above the clouds, but the ice was just too heavy.
If we would have climbed another 100 feet, we would have been out, but we had so much ice it wouldn't climb anymore.
We're running into some icing up there at flight level 100.
Realizing this was potentially life-threatening, Kurt instructs Vicki to dive to try and melt the ice. They descend to just 500 feet above the ocean.
Do you think if you had been a little bit older, you might have been really scared at that moment?
Not really. I just thought it was really exciting.
The lower altitude works. The ice melts off the wings. Vicki and Kurt can now relax and take in a remarkable frozen landscape dotted with icebergs.
Oh, here's another one. That's huge.
A lot of people at that moment might have been thinking, uh-oh, what happens if the engine dies?
I wasn't worried about that, so. But if it did, you know, it'd be a pretty big challenge to try to get out and get in the raft and all that.
And as the two land in Greenland, there's a surprise.
We weren't expecting anything there, and all these school kids came out and they had these posters saying, Vicki, and they were chanting, Vicki, Vicki.
After a night in Greenland, it's off to Iceland. Vicki's been flying for about 16 hours over 2 days, and she's starting to run out of steam.
Now, what do you want to do tonight?
Go in the hot tub.
The next day, Vicki kicks into adrenaline overdrive.
Glasgow Tower, this is 1270.
She's about to reach her goal, a touchdown in Scotland.
Excellent job, Vicki.
Vicki has entered the record books once again.
When you landed in Scotland, they popped the champagne corks for you. Did you have just a little bubbly?
No, well, I wish I could have had a drink of champagne, but unfortunately, my instructor didn't let me, but he had some.
Vicky's trip doesn't end there. She continues on to Europe, but has a little trouble with French air traffic controllers.
Now, I know English is the international language of pilots, but nevertheless, some accents to contend with.
When we were going down into France, it was really, really hard. I was like, say again for 127 Sierra, and they're like, je suis, go to Zondre, blah, blah. And so I was like, what are you saying?
With her trip now behind her, what does this world traveler plan to do next?
I know my friends are home, and I don't know what they're doing, but I want to get home and play hockey with them.
Vicky's back at school now, but she set her sights on another lofty goal. She wants to join NASA and be one of the first people to land on Mars.